Hi, Mia. Thanks for sending in your second essay. Great. The first thing that I want to tell you, and it might seem really silly, it might seem like a detail, but I still want you to know it. One of the things that I want you to get into the habit of doing is leaving an entire space between your paragraphs. You see, when you first look at this, it looks like one big chunk of text. Now, here, because the line ends at this point, you can tell that the paragraph ends. And the same thing applies here. But if you look at this first paragraph, it almost goes to the end of the line. So it's difficult to understand where one paragraph begins and where one ends. Now, why is that important? Because your ability to paragraph is tested and is scored in the coherence and cohesion section of the criteria. So examiners are looking to see that you know how to paragraph appropriately. If the line goes like to the end of the line, if the sentence rather goes to the end of the line, then it's very difficult to know where that paragraph begins, where it ends. So make sure you make this absolutely clear. The best way to do that is by leaving an entire line between your paragraphs, okay? So let's get into this. Doing an enjoyable activity with a child develops better creativity, not just creativity, better creativity and skills than reading. To what extent do you agree? Okay. So in recent years, there have been many discussions around development if a creative thinking in young people. Some claim that reading is essential, while others believe that the pleasant hobbies are better in developing the originality skills. I personally advocate the position that imagination is a skill that comes while a play from a relaxed state of mind. This essay will discuss the view using examples from Oxford University study and American Children's Society to demonstrate points to support arguments. Okay, so the good news is that the content of this introduction is very good. It's appropriate. It's correct. Yes. The problem is with the grammar. I know you mentioned something about your articles that they are a weak point, but I would actually say that there are other weak points in this essay as well. So I want to correct the grammar here. All right, let's look at it. In recent years, there have been many discussions around if creative yeah, I'm not really sure what you're trying to say here. Look at this. Around development, maybe the development of creative thinking in young people. Maybe that's what you mean. There have been discussions around the development of creative thinking in young people. And that's better. Grammatically, it's correct, but that's not what the essay is about. Yes, it's about creativity, but not just creativity. It's also about the development of skills. So you needed to include that as well. So let's do it one more time. In recent years, there have been many discussions around the development of skills and creative thinking in young people. That's it. Some claim that reading is essential, while others believe that pleasant hobbies are better in the development of creativity and skills. I personally advocate the position that imagination is a skill that comes while playing. Full stop. I wouldn't even include this. This essay will discuss the view using examples from Oxford University, Capital, Study, and American Children's Society. Okay, and the rest of it is fine. So it needed a few things to be grammatically correct. Let's move on. To begin with, creativity is an important human characteristic that is essential to be nourished from childhood without the A by parents and teachers. Playing games is found to be one of the most effective ways to build up unique thinking. This is because it is activated mostly when the brain is relaxed and wandering around wandering maybe with an A, rather than intention. For example, there are many cases when breakthrough scientific, without the AL, ideas appeared during you don't mean mind wandering. Daydreaming would have been a better word here. So during daydreaming activities, such as taking a shower or sleeping. So taking, sleeping, it's a parallel structure. A recent Oxford University study, capital U, showed that over 75.6% of early age individuals' imagination skills increased after they had been encouraged to pursue their own interest and were provided a creative environment. This helped children to build up originality skills through play, without the A here. Okay, so the one thing that I see here is that, obviously there are some problems with grammar. There are some errors, and they're pretty consistent. So I think pretty much every sentence had some kind of error. So that's something we need to be careful with, okay? Other than that, though, I see that this paragraph was just about creativity. I want to remind you that this essay is not just about creativity, but also about skills. So those skills could be anything. What kind of skills do children develop? They develop things like hand-eye coordination. They develop fine motor skills. They develop gross motor skills. They develop resilience. They develop discipline, teamwork, competition. So they develop a ton of skills. You could have talked about any of them. So this is not just about creativity. What I am hoping that I'll see in the next paragraph is a paragraph that covers another skill that children develop, okay, and that they develop through an enjoyable activity, okay? That's what this should be about based on how you develop this. Let's take a look. Secondly, for some children, reading could also be the enjoyable activity. However, comparing with playing video games, reading is found not as efficient as games for development of thinking out of the box ability in young adults. The American Children's Society group has investigated the brain cognitive function during these two activities. They found that during playing games, they found that while playing games, development of the new neurons responsible for imagination exceeded those created during reading. So get rid of A. This confirms the position regarding benefits of games, get rid of the, for originality rather than reading. Okay, so you did talk about another activity, so that's good. I like that you connected it to reading, and that was really important. But again, you're only talking about creativity and imagination. You're supposed to be talking about other skills as well, okay? So you haven't covered all parts of the essay, and that's something you need if you're aiming for a band 7 or above. So that's something you have to keep in mind. I really like that there was comparison here between the video games and reading. It would have been nice if you had done something like that here as well. So in other words, you were talking about playing games. Well, you could have talked about that compared to reading. And then here you're talking about video games and you compared it to reading. So having this same sort of comparison I thought was really effective, and it would have been really effective if you had done it here. But more importantly is the fact that you didn't talk about the other skills. And you're supposed to. It says creativity and skills, okay, or skills and creativity. So that means you have to include both. In conclusion, from the examples and arguments given, I firmly agree that originality abilities, not just originality, in children is predominantly developed through activities they enjoy. For some full stop here. For some individuals, reading books could also be an enjoyable activity and contribute to the development of creativity as well as other interests of pleasure. All right, so there are good elements here for sure, Mia. You definitely have the right idea, but you need to improve the accuracy of your grammar, number one. And then number two, you need to include all parts of the task. Like I said, if you're aiming for a higher band score, 7 and above, you need to do that. So without doing that, without including, for example, other skills, you would not be considered for a band 7 in task achievement. So keep that in mind. Go ahead and now correct both of the essays from this set. Return them back to us corrected. Also send another set of essays, a new set of essays together with your corrected set, and an error correction list with the mistakes and the corrected version next to the mistakes. Send all of those three things together. As far as articles are concerned, I will see if we have any grammar references for you to help you. Also, if you have access to a very good advanced grammar book, I recommend revising some of the rules. There are certain rules for grammar. Some of them just kind of come with practice, but some of them, there are standard rules that I think might help. But I'll also see what we have to provide you here. All right, so go ahead and get all that started, and we'll meet back here with your next set. Good luck.